Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Valagar Aloevain, back for some more Dungeons and Dragons Online. So for this quest, it's probably an old favorite of mine. I remember farming this quest out a lot, long time ago. The quest itself is picked up in House Deneath, inside of the Temple of the Sovereign Flame. If you happen to have a cleric, there's a cleric scroll which will teleport you. It'll have this symbol on the scroll. Like, honestly, for the life of me, I can't remember the name of the scroll. But it'll teleport you to this location here. And here you just want to talk to Sir Kynes MacDoonan. And he's got a lot of conversation to go through. And then he'll finally bestow the quest, A Relic of a Sovereign Past. Now the quest itself is located in House Kundarak, so I'm just going to use a teleport, save ourselves a little bit of running. Now, just north of the bank here, we're going to have our Black Anvil Forest cart. We're going to want to enter this. And if you remember from our other quest, Made to Order, which had us heading over there to Haywire's Grotto, this time we're actually just going to hug the right side wall and head into the Black Anvil Mines. Now this quest is kind of a longer one. It can be done a lot faster with the use of a group, but there is some good optional experience available in this quest. So hopefully we'll be able to get some of that there for you guys. Alright, so it is super important to have a Death Ward in here, as there are a lot of
seems to cause the walls in here to sweat profusely.
casters that like using negative energy spells and the like. Alright, so once we get into the main chamber room, there's going to be a whole bunch of elemental type enemies. Alright, so what I typically do when I first enter is I actually hug the right side here and head up the ladder just to our right here. And at the top, as you'll see, we now have a new optional to kill the summoners. The summoners are actually all located in this chamber on various ledges around the outside edge. So what I recommend, if you happen to have a party, is you have some of your party members actually completing the quest itself. You have somebody who has a good ranged damage, as not all of these platforms on the side have a ladder so that you can actually climb up them. Some of them you just got to use ranged damage and take them out that way. Another one up there. So as you see, we do have a ladder. Obviously it is faster if you can shoot them there, though I am gonna grab the breakables. So again, you can head on up there to kill them. That one's again another fairly easy one. This one here is just up there. Again, not hard. However, these next two, they don't actually have an official way to climb up there. I know if you have a very, very high jump, you can actually make it up on top of this one here where that one is. It is a very difficult jump to make, or at least I find it quite difficult, and I'm actually going to show you that here in just a moment. Alright, so the way that you can get up there is you can start actually by on these parts here, and you can kind of climb up, And you just gotta kind of jump around the edge. So like I said, finding that sweet spot that lets you up high enough without falling, and then being able to jump up and around on top of that there. So there we go. So that's how you can make it up here, and again, hop here, and then you can jump and make it around. But honestly, like I said, it's easier if you just have some sort of a range type damage, either spellcaster or like longbows and such. They are difficult to do with if you're not doing a lot of damage, as they are casters and healers, so they will heal themselves. And a champion can heal themselves almost to full hit points, so again, kind of difficult to do. Alright, so now that we've gone basically full circle here, we have just our one last summoner up there. And that's it. So as you can see, 1100 experience for relative minimal work. From this point, there are two doors. So if you look on our map on our western wall here, this one, the south door, and then there's one just north of there. You need to head through both these doors. So we're actually going to start with this one here. And so again, this is where having a party is really, really handy. You can send part of your party around the edge to kill the summoners. Part of your party can run ahead down the south path here. And then you can have somebody else going down the north one. And it definitely speeds things up immeasurably. Now, throughout the majority of this quest, you don't actually got to worry about traps. The only place that you actually got to worry about them is the very, very end. Once we've gone through both this north and southern doors on the western side. Once you've gone through and you've pulled the runes, or the levers, then it'll open up the area which has the traps. Alright, once you reach the end of this path, we have two sides, east and west. Both sides just have a clay golem and a lever. Now, killing the clay golem is completely up to you. It's not required, but they won't stop, so you might as well just kill them before you pull the lever. Once you've pulled both levers, it will open the door to continue heading south into almost like a chapel-esque room. once everybody is defeated, this guy here will begin to move and actually head towards here. So you can do all the fighting right at the door. At which point he'll also spawn in 2 elementals, a fire and an earth elemental. And that's pretty much it in this room. We do still have a little bit left, so there are some breakables to grab. As well, at the center altar kind of thing here, we do have a lever attached to a rune. You do need to make sure you pull this, as you need to light up both runes in order to actually enter that the end quest area. You'll also have a chest with just some random loot. At this point, you want to make your way back to that main chamber. Oh, and there's that shrine there in the southeastern corner. And then, yeah, just you're going to want to make your way all the way back to that main chamber. So if you have use of D-Door, definitely saves you a fairly decent run. Now, another thing that a lot of groups will do is they'll actually, the way they split is they'll actually send the party down the northern pass until they reach the room that has a chest and a key. That key is actually used to open a door on the northeastern section, so over here. And that area is completely 100% optional. Though if you are looking to get Conquest, Ransack, you do need to go that way. It also has its own little optional at the end there as well. So there's a decent amount of XP that you can earn out of there, as well as some unique items, which I'll definitely show you once we actually hit that path there. Alright, so the first thing you do, you want to head in. Oh, and he just missed that. Alright, so you're gonna head on through. There we go. So this path is gonna be very similar to this one, in the aspect that we got to get to the end, pull a lever attached to a rune. However, that's about where the similarities lie. Well, that and you're obviously fighting about the same enemy. This one has doors on 2 sides of the path. In each side, there will be enemies. And in one of these rooms, there will be a chest with a key. So you do got to keep your eye out for that. So hopefully we'll find that before too long here. Now it does randomly change where it is located. So it's not going to be in the same position every time, but it will always be in one of the side rooms. So here we are in our next set. As well, if you are going for Conquest, you know, it does help to go into all these side rooms, as honestly most of them open up on their own when you get near. And here's our chest. Cool. So most of them do open up when you get close. This one just seems to have a shrine. So opening them up yourself just stops you from getting ambushed if you ever got to backtrack. So, though we've found the key, I will still just hop on into these side rooms, as they are quick. And with the breakables and the kills, we should definitely get full bonus from this quest here. Okay. Alright, so like before, once you reach the end, you're going to have two little doors. On either side of the door you have an enemy. This time it's just a Dwarven Taskmaster. And then kill them, pull the lever. Again, you don't actually have to kill them, but it does make it easier. And then finally into the end room here. Now if you are quick enough at killing the dwarf here, he won't actually get a chance to pull the lever. The lever itself is going to open up these little side passage that have the iron defender or adamantine defenders. So if you're quick enough, you can actually avoid having to fight them. Though again, I like killing them just to get those kills. And then in the center we have our lever and the rune there as well. Towards the south we have a chest behind the wall, or behind the door. Cage wall there. And again, once you've pulled that lever, you've done and completed this side. So ultimately you do just need to head down these two paths, pull the lever on both of them, and that's it. From this point you can head towards the end of the quest. However, if you want to go for that full bonus, there is a whole other optional side path, which does take, again, a decent amount of time to go through, like these two had done. But you get a fair amount of experience out of it from the optional. So we'll say where we're at right now, we're at 23,000. And we'll see just how much we're at the end of that tunnel. Again, if you have D-Door, use it. It saves so much time running all the way back. Though you still have a bit of a run, it's nowhere near the distance. Alright, so if at this point you are just wanting to complete, you would head through this northern passage right here. There's the runes all lit up. If you want the optional, you would use your silver key that you had picked up from that last passage, and you can use it to unlock this door. Now, in this section, strewn randomly on the ground and on things, but it's always like out in the open, they're not in chests, are going to be adamantine ore, like this one right here. And you can actually pick them up, and I will explain what they're used for here while we're going out and about. So they have two effects that you can use. The first one is you can actually just use them as a straight turn-in item, which can be turned in for some rewards at the end of this this path here. The other option is they are actually used in a Stone of Change ritual, which will actually increase the amount of durability that your gear can have, as well as increase the hardness. Now, for the most part, that's not like a be-all end-all like thing, but it is nice to have, as it just adds a little extra flavor and a little personalization to your gear. And I mean, no one wants their gear to break mid-quest, so this will just make it take a little less damage and be able to take a lot more of it. So I used to farm this quest actually specifically for that ore. In order to boost the durability, you do need a large amount of it. On top of that, you also will need some soul gem essences, essences of earth. So that's honestly the trickier part to get. Alright, so the next part here, with this lever, you do need to use range damage. It won't actually let you manually interact with it or use melee attacks to hit it. You do have to shoot the lever. You can throw items at it, that will also work, but you need to use some sort of a ranged attack, non-spell, in order to actually open up those doors to continue. The other thing to point out is there is a total of 15 of the adamantine ore per run. They always have this number, so if you only got 14 or whatever, it just means that you've missed one or two along the path. However many you missed, adding up to 15. What I like to do, if you are looking to farm them, is I place the adamantine ore on a quick bar. That way I can count it and make sure that I did receive all 15 per run. For example, right now we're up to 8. So we got a few more. So with these passageways, it does make it real easy if you have like good crowd control effects, maybe like a disco ball or something like that, as there's a lot of enemies and they like to group up. Mass Charm is also a really nice one as well, if you have access to those types of spells. Alright, so we're up to 13, just 2 more to go. And we're actually almost at the end of this path here. So once you reach the end, you'll come into a room like this, which again has a bunch of enemies and a Forge Master. Now, as you see, the Forge Master himself does award about 1100 experience. Nothing too major, but still a decent amount of experience. As well, there are a large amount of breakables in this room. And the other thing in this room is we're going to have this dwarf here, Galeris the Smith. He is who you can talk to exchange these adamantine ore that we've been picking up. And he can exchange them for various armors, as well as some other piece of gear. So we got a neck, helms. Honestly, the neck isn't too bad, giving you 100% fortification at level 9. And then again, they have some adamantine weapons, throwing weapons, and, you know, play around, look, you know, find an item that works for you. Like I said, I typically save them for increasing the durability on my gear. Alright, so as I was showing, we're now at 25,000. So we got about 3,000 total between the optional and then the bonus experience that we earned for doing this section. So it is up to you whether or not you feel that this path alone was worth the 3,000 experience that we got for heading down it. At this point, all that's left is to head back to that main chamber and head up the northern pass to the end of the quest. Alright, so once we start this path, so this room here is safe. However, after this point, the statues that look like this will actually spew poison out of their mouths. So you'll see them coming up here. Alright, so as we're heading up, so we have a statue here. Now, if you actually walk right at the base of the statue, you can completely avoid the poison damage, making a safe path if you don't happen to have a trapper. If you do have a trapper, obviously go ahead and grab those traps. The trap boxes are located at the base of each of the statues. And this is where all the traps are located. So they're located on those statues all the way up to the end. Obviously, if you are a Warforged, you are immune to the poison damage. that these traps give off. And as you can see, the path is a long one. And as you can tell, there are also a lot more traps available than you are actually required to get. So if you do happen to blow a box or two, don't worry too much. Obviously it's never a good thing, but there are backups and you can still get that full trapping bonus. As well, if you are looking to make web traps, this is a great place to pick up those magical trap parts, as each one of these traps in here, all 15 of them, will give you magical trap parts, which are again required to make those web traps.
The final pair of blackguards stand at attention before the seven gates. The king's chambers lie on the other side of them.
Alright. So at this
A
point
sword
here,
hangs suspended beneath a magical dome at the center of this room. But the hard gaze of the man standing behind it draws your attention.
so at this point here, what you want to do is actually go ahead and talk to the king. Now, there are a few options when talking to the king, and I'm going to hopefully remember which one you want to do first. Now, out of both these doors, on the eastern and western sides here, they will have a treasure chest behind it. Now, none of the chests here drop named loot, but you can actually access both rooms if you go through the correct options. Now, the first option, you want to go, I think it is bluff? Yes, you would start, it is not bluff. So bluff is the option to actually not get any of the rooms, and it just gives you the sword right away. Which will complete the quest, so it did give us bonus XP for doing it passively. If you don't do it passively, so you didn't choose the bluff option, either diplomacy or intimidate, one of them will spawn a fight with the king here himself. Again, if you do that option, that is the only one that you can do. The other one being, you can actually talk to him into sending in a whole bunch of his guards, which will then come from this door. So you get, if you choose that option, again, I don't remember if it's intimidate or diplomacy, as obviously bluff was the one to get the sword. As you do those ones, he'll send in his guards saying, hey, what's going on? And they'll attack you, and then once you defeat them, you can actually talk to him again and choose the other option, and then you would fight him. Doing so opens up both those doors, which will get you both those chests. Ultimately, it's best if you have a low skill, that way you're failing these skills checks, and then he just sends the whole army at you. From here, obviously you want to recall out, and then you can turn in your quest, which is all the way out in House D, which we'll do off cam. That way we don't have to drag you guys through that. Well, thank you guys so much for joining. I hope you found this informative. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one, all.